Right, so this is obviously not the boss. I figured while I had Fang, because we will lose her after the boss, I was gonna go knock out the skeleton side quest. So what you're seeing right now is a completely unedited footage, aside from speeding it up, and this is what it takes to actually genocide something over the course of this roughly 17-minute video.
A lot of combat. I'm very sorry for misleading everyone into thinking that the next video is going to contain the boss. No, actually it's genocide. Technically the boss video will be genocide as well, but this one just seems more deliberate. As I recall, there are 80 skeletons?
60.
60. Close enough.
Yeah, there's 60 of them to start, and then, like I said, this is one of the few quests that actually keeps track of the number of them that you've killed. Like, if you check the quest description, it will tell you that, hey, we need to kill 30 more, we need to kill 24 more, whatever.
Which is great.
Yeah, some of them, like the one for the dudes back in Usanon who wants you to genocide the Niblets, yeah, they don't tell you shit on like that. That's just kill them all.
Also, you know, last one hunting generally doesn't tell you anything. I do not believe there is any in-game resource that tells you how many of a thing there are.
So you just keep hitting them until they disappear?
Pretty much.
Now, you might notice something unusual about this particular gremlin. If no one else is going to say it, then I am. It is hot pink, and has no lighting coding on it. It is not only hot pink, it is globally lit hot pink, at full brightness.
More importantly, it's also shitting out Faragas at us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the big thing about Last Ones. In addition to having much higher stats, they also have a lot. They hit a lot harder, and they have a bunch of new moves that their regular versions don't. And they also drop things. Sometimes this is useful, sometimes it is not. This is one of the ones that is not particularly good.
Yeah, as a rule, they drop high-level accessories and weapons and, you know, equipables generally. So, like, a bunch of your stock really good stuff you're going to be getting from Last Ones. And there's a bit of a I don't want to call it hacks, but there is a system in play in New Game Plus regarding accessories that I'm sure we'll complain about at some point. But yeah, Last Ones are a mechanic. They count as boss fights, which is important because it means that you get rated, and it also means that you can refight them whenever you want. So, you know, that's not nothing.
Well, at least it's a way of figuring out you actually fight in the last one, even before getting the message at the end of the fight.
Oh yeah, but you know that's. I think the hot pink might give it away somewhat.
Yeah, and the fact that it makes you, it loses all detail. It's like a pink blob lobbing Firaga at you.
Like, I can understand them putting in a weird lighting effect to just to aesthetically differentiate it. Like, hey, this one is special. That's a totally understandable and in fact laudable decision. I just don't. I don't get the hot pink thing. I don't get it. What's up with that? It's just so weird and out of place. Even in Final Fantasy 13 standards, this is just aesthetically weird. What is the deal with it? Ah well. Skeletons are at least nice enough to come in pairs.
Do they count both the skeletons you kill, or it's like a number of fights you have to do?
No. It is a number of monsters. So there are 60 of them, so if you get 30 pairs, you will finish it in 30 fights.
What I would be interested to know is if they were clever enough to make it so that if there's, like, only one left plus the last one, will it only spawn one? Will it stop spawning pairs?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that if there is, like, only 2 of them left, it will only spawn a single, because the last one is always its own fight.
I was thinking it might be slightly moderately cool, maybe sort of ish, possibly, if they had a generic one and the last one spawn. But, you know, at the same time, I can also see how that could be a little bit bullshit and would kind of... It just doesn't seem in keeping with the game's repeatable boss fight decision to do that.
Well, I say, well, not only that, if you had 2 of them, it wouldn't be the last one, now would it?
They could combine.
Yeah, they could have an in-battle transformation. Kind of like Final Fantasy X-2 and Oversouling. That was like an actual in-battle animation that they could do. I mean, it wasn't quite extinction, but it was pretty much the exact same mechanic. Whereas you kill enough of a thing, and the next one of it you fight will hulk out and have tougher stats and use different abilities and drop better things and just generally be rarer.
I think they kept, if I remember correctly, they kept the genocide a lot of a single type of enemy in Final Fantasy XII. You got the chain bonus, and then you got better drops from them.
Ah, yes. That was also quite weird as a gameplay system. I mean, consistent, but it's just really weird and arbitrary and weird.
I think I never quite figured out what the chain was until after I finished the game, and I just read an FAQ about it, because I thought it was like, good fights, or maybe fights without taking damage. I never got the two things together about being the same type of enemy.
Yeah. Like, it just seems a really arbitrary way of building a chain. Because, obviously it means that there are certain kinds of enemies that just... Well, there's certain areas. If any area has basically any enemy diversity at all, then it becomes an enormous pain to chain a particular kind of enemy. And I think...
Yeah, you needed to start kiting stuff.
I think there was some sort of, like, balance-ish oriented decision around that. So, like, there's some enemies that drop spectacularly rare shit that you would want to chain, and those enemies are deliberately made difficult to chain, but I don't know how much credit to really give them, and some of the scarcity and rarity mechanics in 12 were complete bullshit anyway. I noticed the audio has come back. Am I to take it that we're about to meet the last skeleton?
Not quite.
Oh, good, it's one of these things. How many species did you accidentally genocide in your hunt for skeletons?
3 in total, including... So it's these 2 and then the skeletons at the end of the video.
And it kind of says something when you get one of these that's sufficiently tough that it can actually take a couple of hits.
I mean, to be fair, that's actually pretty much all of them. Like, it's only the worst of the worst, like the gremlins and the niblets really need... Like, they're the only ones that really fold easy.
Well, yeah, the last ones do, like, they scale appropriately to how much of a shithead the original species was in the first place. So, there's that. But there is still, like, a baseline standard of actually being able to put up a fight. It probably doesn't help that you seem to be debraved and defaith'd.
Yeah, that's a fun thing. That's what the goblet's belch does. Normally it only poisons, but this time it adds a whole bunch of other debuffs. And it really sucks!
Yeah, like, having nightmares reminds me of Marlboro Breath.
Yeah, that's only a 3-star fight. You're a bad gamer.
I am, I'm the worst.
Yeah, we're gonna be needing your badge.
That's right, Bills. Okay, we never have to fight them again now.
And what do we win this time? I forget what that does. Probably increases something by 20. They all increase something by 20. Like, as a rule, most accessories in this game, a lot of them don't seem in and of themselves particularly impressive, but like, holy shit, putting some of these things in certain builds just completely kicks things off. And it's one of the things that I like about this game, is that they've managed to have like a sufficient variety in the variables that you can have and how big an effect they can have, such that you can have an accessory that can single-handedly turn a bad build into an amazing one. Mostly I'm thinking of the ATB recovery stuff when I say this, but you know.
So you're saying that the accessory ties the outfit together?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The accessory is of course not to be confused with the adornment, which aesthetically ties the outfit together. I know I'm explaining the joke, but like, this is Final Fantasy 13-3, there is actually a legitimate need to explain the differences between accessories and adornments, because Jesus Christ, this game has a lot of things going on.
Yeah, I actually forgot the adornment bit.
Yes. So you got the adornment that aesthetically ties it together, and you got the accessory that mechanically ties it together. And all in all, everything's just very together. It's quite pleasing when it all works.
Yeah, and then you get things like our current outfit.
Yeah. Listen, I know I keep on doing this, but I just really like the customization available in this game. Like both in the aesthetic and the mechanical sense. I love that it's both aesthetic and mechanical at the same time. I love that you can just spend ages in the menus tweaking, either for mechanics or aesthetics. It's just right that these two dimensions to this thing are both available and both are deep. And you can achieve great things with either of them.
And it gives you some liberty that, you know, you get in some RPGs and some games that the top gear you can get is actually ridiculous looking, and you would rather go to something lower just to stop having to stare at it.
Like it ties into a general 13 mechanic quite well. Like I always liked in 13 that each of the different weapons wasn't so much like, you know, here's the weapon and here's the next weapon, but it was just a bunch of series of weapons that broadly all had the same categories that could upgrade between. And you can pick one for whatever reason, whether it's a mechanical one or an aesthetic one, and just stick with it and upgrade it and make it into the ultimate weapon. And you can kind of do that in this game as well, although there's some bullshit crafting restrictions. There's our hot pink skeleton.
Here we go.
So yeah, the Omega Skeleton is a motherfucker.
Arguably a bit more of a motherfucker than the Omega Goblet or the Omega Gremlin.
Yeah, so something I don't think we've ever actually talked about, but it does kind of come into play here, is that Fang does have an actual HP counter. Like, if you let her get hurt too much, she will just stand there and Mediguard to get her health back up, and she'll stop attacking.
Yeah, she can't die, but it'll take her out of the fight for a good long while, and it's basically a penalty. Anyway, good overclocking. That worked. That was good. Honestly, it makes like half of the benefit of overclock isn't just the fact that it just lets you get in a bunch of free attacks, it's also that it completely refills all of your ATB, which makes it an incredible panic button.
Yeah, also note that once he hits the halfway point, the Omega Skeleton will start casting buffs on himself.
Yeah, because he didn't hit hard enough already.
Yeah, most notably Bravery, but he does, I believe he does have Protect and possibly Vigilance? I don't remember.
Fortunately, we brought Fang with us, and if you have any sense when Fang is with you, you will always be deprotecting. I mean, you should always be deprotecting anyway, because you can kill shit faster, but, you know, we've spoken before about Fang and her deprotect hunter ability. And it's, frankly, great. Always use the chasers whenever you can. And also one other tier of buff-related ability, which is amazing, which I'm sure I'll be able to get insane about when the time comes.
Time to repent.
Anyway, I really hope you like action fights because, yeah, this guy will work out your blocking ability.
Yeah, Blood Sword, assuming you fuck up the timing, like I did there, is a quick 1200 damage down the drain. So
Yeah, that was like half your HP.
it can, yeah, and also of note, Blood Sword can also inflict debuffs.
Yeah. It's a barrel of fun.
Yeah, you really do not want to fuck that one up.
Stagger Overclock is great. He's stagger deprotected and regular deprotected, and we're overclocked, and Fang setting him with deprotectator, and just, oh my god, numbers. Do you like numbers flying out of stuff? Because that's what we've got for you today, my friends.
Yeah, that's cathartic, especially after all those little ones popping up on him.
You're a moderate gamer.
But we're not done yet, because the Omega Skeleton drops a very, very important thing.
Oh yes. This thing is the linchpin of so many of my plans.
Yeah, so the Bone Cracker is an actual weapon. And not only is it a very good weapon, as in, like, it's a 300-point boost on our current equipment,
But more importantly,
it gives you Deprotect Hunter.
It's hot pink.
just like the last one that dropped it. Aesthetics, guys.